Who needs rugby values anyway? I'd rather tune in for this. Rugby. Hello, and sorry I did not make a video last week. When rain hits the parched soil of Johannesburg, every one of the 9 million people in the city forgets how to drive. Then getting home takes so long that filming and editing goes out the window. You have no idea how much it hurts to have to delete an entire script that I worked on for like 3 days. But enough of the sob stories. The Champions Cup has finally reached a stage where we might be getting some competitive matches, because all of the paupers have been knocked out in the past 2 weekends. So let's get all loosey-goosey and see what happened. Friday night only had one game. It was at the Aviva between Leinster and Glasgow. Two teams riding high because they have not had to face Henry Pollock yet. We were all hoping for some entertainment after the demolition job of the Harlequins, and it was, after all, number 1 in the Erk versus number 2 in the Erk and the current champions. Surely it would be fun, right? No! Nothing is fun! Not only have Leinster rediscovered their attacking mojo like they've been hiding it all year, but they now have a lust for violent contact and defense that was not there before. 52 to a big fat 0, a weekend after 62 to a big fat 0. How nice to support a team that regularly beats the All Blacks and the Boks and have it supplemented by a Bok and an All Black. First up on Saturday was Bordeaux hosting Munster. The Munster, who have been making their games pretty entertaining through sheer stubbornness and only having to contain Henry Pollock for 20 minutes that one time. Right now, Stade Chebard Delmar looks like the best party in rugby, and it comes through with the play on the field. Conceding a turnover against Bordeaux these days almost always leads to a major loss of field position, if not just straight up giving away a try. Jalibert has turned getting turnover ball into the hands of either BLBRA or Pinaud's hands into an art form, and it seems almost impossible to defend. As always, Munster were making a good game of it, but it seems like the big effort against La Rochelle stopped them from making such a big effort against Bordeaux. 47-29 was a fair score, I think, in a competition which places massive premiums on home ground advantage and the depth and size of your team's squad. The final game on Saturday was between Henry Pollock and Castres at Franklin's Gardens. Castres, it's hard to say. The English champions have looked quite shit at home, but in Europe they've been putting up some good numbers recently. Guys like Alex Mitchell and Tommy Freeman have been playing very well, and with George Furbank back, they might be doing even better come the weekend against Leinster. All of that before I've even mentioned Henry Pollock, my new favourite. Give me a fast, skillful back rower with a bit of a cocky streak in him, and I'm gonna tune in every time. He scored 2 fairly easy tries this weekend, but his work as a forward did set up the good field position. He also got smashed by number 10 and then stayed down, which is pretty funny, and he is coming up against probably his biggest test yet this coming weekend. I can't wait to see how he goes. That's what to tune in for, the cocky little shit against a team that might just quiet him down. I love this stuff. This is the new rugby. Bring it on! For now though, the Saints can be happy with another massive playoff win, and maybe that will lead to not being so shit in the Premiership. Finally on Sunday, we got the type of game you want in a playoff fixture, especially in a quarter-final. Toulon hosted Toulouse at the Stade Mayor Felix, and it was a wet, tight French affair. The hosts took an early lead through penalties, but you could see they were struggling to contain the sun-darkening bulk of Manny Miafu as he took it upon himself to turn the first-up tacklers in the defensive line into dust, just slowly over time. All that grinding led to 2 second-half tries for Toulouse against a yellow-carded Toulon, and then they were drawn, and then Ramos had to step up for a pretty difficult penalty kick to get the win. 21-18 for the reigning champs, who dodged a bullet. That bullet being another French giant joining Toulouse, Bordeaux, maybe still La Rochelle and Leinster as the only ones with a snowball's chance in hell in big Europe. And perhaps I've judged small Europe a little too harshly. No. The only thing that's happened is a bunch of teams that don't belong up in big Europe have dropped down to the Challenge Cup and made it look like a competition between teams with middle-class salaries. The round of 16 and quarterfinals in the Brown Cup have looked more competitive, but it really does seem like teams kind of choose every weekend if they care or not. And right now it does look like Bath and Lyon might be the ones caring the most. Maybe they'll be in the final, that'd be pretty cool. They will all have to wait though, because the competitions all take a break until the beginning of May, because first there has to be 2 rounds of domestic competitions. Then there will be 1 round of Europe and then another 2 rounds of domestic competitions. Who came up with this format? In other rugby news, the Women's Six Nations is still England all the way, but damn Italy, I didn't know your game. Down here in the South, Super Rugby Pacific is getting that Crusaders stench all over it again. But damn Waratahs, what a fucking try. And beating the Chiefs? I wasn't familiar with your game. So that was some or all of the rugby. Any news? Today the IRFU announced that all 4 provinces in Ireland will have to start paying a little bit more for national player contracts. Previously, each province contributed 30% of the player's contract value, but now, from August next year, they will have to start contributing 40%. Furthermore, all the money from that little bump will be ring-fenced and go directly to building the academies of Connacht, Munster, Ulster. If you were to ask my opinion on the whole story, this seems like a little bookkeeping way of trying to balance the imbalance currently existing in Ireland. There's one team there that has a whole bunch of guys that will now be more expensive, so maybe they'll unload some of them, and then all that extra money will try and build up the other teams that don't have a whole bunch of expensive guys. But that's just opinion, you shouldn't take that seriously. And finally, in New Zealand, Mark Talia has announced that he will be leaving the Blues at the end of the 2025 Super Rugby season, and he will be going to maybe Toyota Verblitz in Japan. No one really knows. This is obviously a pretty big blow for the All Blacks, because if he was fit, he would probably be a starter. Or maybe it's not a big blow for the All Blacks, because he is 28, 1 year past the DiCaprio cutoff age for All Black wingers. And by 2027, he will be 30, which is positively ancient for an All Black winner. They probably would have offered him special parking to protect his hips at training grounds. The sure thing is that some gun winger will probably jump out of a hobbit hole before the July Test Series and will add Mark to all the other forgotten names like Nehe and Waisaki and Sevu and George, Julian, Zach, and whoever else played wing for the All Blacks in the past 6 months. Go well, Mark, you slippery bastard. And remember, in 5 years, you can play for the Springboks. We have no problem with octogenarians. And I think that will do it for this week. I will see you all. Maybe I won't see you next week. It's going to be a long weekend in South Africa, and I struggle to make videos on those kinds of weekends. So maybe I won't see you, but at least I'm warning you this time. And also, I'll be able to see the Lions win at Ellis Park, no matter what, because Benetton. Bye!